I thought my bees weren't doing too badly when I looked inside the hive last week. They're a bit short on honey. And we're about 8 weeks out from winter. Let's make the decision to help them. And if you've joined my live, thank you. My name's Brian. My channel's called Not That Bad. And basically what I'm doing is I'm getting my bees ready for winter. And I do that in two ways. Firstly, I feed them. Secondly, I also have some insulation panels. As you'll see, they're just a plywood panel with some foam on the inside. Now, it's very cold up here. I live in the Dandenong Ranges in outer suburban Melbourne. It's very cold indeed sometimes. There's quite a few wasps building this hive, isn't there? I can see 3 of them. They must be hungry too. Okay, so I've got 3 Langstroths in this row and 1 empty Langstroth. And that empty Langstroth is about to get filled with some baby bees. So without further ado, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to feed the hives. Then we've got a little bit of work to do to this one because it doesn't have any insulation on it. And what I've found is in cold weather, they can die, which isn't great. I've also found that when I insulate them well, they come through the winter a lot stronger. And they do better in summer too, actually. It kind of makes sense, really, because they have this little 10mm thick pine wall. I'm going to go and put insulation on it and another 8 or 9 mils of wood, and suddenly they go crispy, toasty, warm. So if you've joined me on the live and you want to see how to feed a beehive, this is how I do it. It's really easy. I'll start with feeding this one. First thing we do, play it safe. Always use a little bit of smoke. Some beekeepers don't. But in this case, I'm going to be a little bit disruptive to the hive. So it would be a really good idea to do that. At the same time, I'll get my other bees all this smoke as well, just to nail them out. So we'll be doing the same thing to them. As you can see, this hive here, the long Langstroth, not a normal Langstroth. Thanks for the principle. It's just everything's on the one level. Super easy to use. And if you're wondering what this thing on my head is, it is a GoPro. It's a GoPro Hero 13 Black, and it shoots 4K video, brilliant quality, brilliant sound. Love it. So without further ado, let's go have a look. Now this week we have almost 0 honey in here, almost 0, which was pretty sad. So on that, we've had to do some help. And as you'll see, for the people at home can see, I'll show you how I feed them. Let's have a look. Come with me. Here we go. This is a feed frame. And what you'll see in the feeding frame is you'll see some wood and some bees, and those ribs on the outside are called a bee ladder. The only problem is they're not really grippy enough for the bees. Girls can't really climb their way out too easily, so playground. So I don't want to disrupt the whole hive, but I'm just going to put some sugar in here. And what you'll see in this pot, it's about 4 litres, 6 litres, lots of litres anyway, and it's 2-to-1 sugar syrup. Now I filled that a week ago with 2-to-1. That's about 4 kilos of sugar they've basically eaten in the space of a week. And what you'll see that? The wood is floating. And I know some of the bees will drown, but a whole lot less of them will drown because the timber will come up and it will help them. Look at that. So a whole heap of them are climbing out successfully because of that timber. And there we have it, one hive fed. Now with this hive, because I'm going to put insulation panels on it, I need to be able to get the lid off. And it's a bit of a problem sometimes. And that is how I used to hook it off, but that's pretty much broken now. So I need to give myself a bit of a helping hand as to how, get in there and get out. So what I'm going to do, find my trusty Don't leave home without it. Well, I mean, we are at home, so we haven't left home without it. The end of the game here, people. To give myself something to grip on. And I want to open the hive because the lugs are broken. To be fair, though, they lasted about 3 years. So if you've come along, you've just missed me feeding a beehive, but you can watch that in the live if you go back and watch it. And what I'm also doing now, go away, Mr. White. Oh, wasps are boys or girls? Anybody know? I know bees are all girls. Except for the drones, of course. There you have it. I'll take the top off. We'll replace that with a couple of screws. And the idea being that over winter, I'll be able to use these to pull the lid off just by hooking my hive tool around it. Now with that, I still have to open the hive fairly regularly. See that? That's the idea anyway. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's get on to feeding our bees though. One of the main reasons we came here, so let's finish that first. And if you've joined me on the live, welcome to Brian's Beekeeping. Whoa, did you see that? That was an huntsman. Where'd he go? You don't like spiders? That was a good one. He's gone somewhere. I'm not worried about spiders. They don't scare me. But if you don't like spiders, that was yeah, that'll give you the heebie-jeebies for sure. Now I don't actually need to take this one apart to feed it, believe it or not. Do not need to take this one apart. Looks like I'm going to have to though. Put it back together again. Yeah, duffer. Ah, silly. What have you done, BD? Go. Going back around. We're in business again. Good song. Back in business. I reckon ACDC should do it. I didn't even know. I really like ACDC. Great band. Something the Aussies did well. Alrighty. Hive tool. Can't have too many hive tools in your kit. I am forever misplacing them. Ooh, hear that. There we go. Same here. Might need to put a bit of smoke on these ones. Just because I don't want them hassling me. There you go, girls. Maybe now fill your food up as well. This is 2-to-1 sugar. 2 kilos sugar to 1 litre of water. And as you can see in here, on the GoPro footage shot by the beautiful Hero 13 Black, we have a bee ladder made out of wood. And it floats, just like Monty Python said, wood floats. And there you have it. Bees fed, mischief managed. Love my movie references, don't I? Okay, girls, put the lid back on, and they are fed. That's how easy it is. If you set it up well, sort of take the lid off a little bit. You're away. You see that huntsman? If you come along just now on the live, you didn't see that spider, but he was a big one, or she, no, big huntsman, big old huntsman. In Kiwi, they call them Avondale spiders. You'll terrify them. They're harmless. They might want to kill me, Simple fact is they lack the ability. Another honey tray, all ready to go. I've got two in this one. Just start with this honey tray for now. Bees coming out to look around. One should do us. Okay, I'll put a little bit on the floor, unfortunately. That's cool. Happy bees. You see those sticks again floating? Bees can then sort of grab onto those and out they go. Happy bees. That's as easy as it gets, working on a long Langstroth, one of my favourite hives by far. So that concludes the bee feeding session. If you've joined me for the live, as you can see, I've got a couple of pots there. I get 6 kilos of sugar in that one. 6? Yeah, I get 6 kilos of sugar in that one, and the other one I can get 4 kilos of sugar. So between them, I'm putting 10 kilos of sugar into my hives each week, which is pretty cool as we come up to winter. Now that I've got this sorted, we'll get to the second part of the video, and that's where I'm getting my hive ready for the winter by putting the insulation panels on. Now, each panel has its own shape. This is a back panel. It sits quite happily back here. So I can put another piece to go in there, just to pad it out. Certainly do. So that's the back panel. Quite happy there. I'll leave it like that. So as you can see, this sits there. The same width as those little pink bits of wood down the bottom there, and the frame just mounts straight onto those. So happy days. This is a side panel. The side panel, same thing. That's my top, funnily enough. And there we have it. Side panel, back panel. Happy days. So, without further ado, all I need now is to keep them in place, which would be good. What did I bring here to keep them in place with? I left home without my Alki straps. That's okay, we can make this work. Recycled screws from last winter. Make sure the lid's on properly, people. Always a good idea. Now these bees will be super happy after putting this insulation panel on. Super happy. And it literally is don't want that. How do I manage that? I really don't want that. What I'm going to do, because I can't use that bottom one, I'm not going to take it off. I assure you, it's normally more organised than this. So if you've joined me, what I'm doing, what you're seeing, is me putting the insulation on so that my beehive can survive through winter. Because if I don't insulate up here, they eat an awful lot more honey. And that can actually be the difference between them surviving the winter or not. Let's take this one off as well. And if you're wondering what this device on my head is, it is a GoPro Hero 13 Black. It shoots excellent 4K video. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that one out. Look at that. Happy with that. Rusted beyond all belief. That's okay. Not generally recommended. But hey, it worked. So how this works, very simple. This will sit on the outside. It's mounted there. Got to make sure it fits in nice and snug. The first thing we do is just make sure it tacks in nice and snug. So if you've joined my live, thank you very much. My name's Brian. My beekeeping channel is called Not That Brian. This Brian. And what you're seeing, I've just finished feeding my bees some sugar syrup. It's a Sunday evening here in sunny Melbourne. Yes, that was a joke. Sunny Melbourne. And after I've fed my bees, I'm now putting some insulation panels on the hive. And what that does is it prepares the hive for winter, which is pretty harsh up here. It's about 5 degrees cooler than the rest of Melbourne. And what that means is that the bees use more, they eat more, they have a shorter harvesting period. So it's actually a pretty tough environment for bees. I lost a couple of hives in the first couple of years, lost a couple of hives. It's sad. And the reason I lost the hives, they starved. And then I started insulating my hives. And they started to survive. And they not only survive, they thrive. This particular hive, I've had for 5 years now. And I've split about 5 other hives off it. So this one does really, really, really well. But I have to admit, this is also the hive that's the best insulated, so that might have something to do with it. When this hive came out of winter, last winter, I had maybe the whole thing, literally full of honey still. So if you're interested in beekeeping, by all means subscribe. I only said subscribe and follow in the one word, which didn't sound good at all. By all means subscribe. Love to have you following the channel. Because I post beekeeping videos. So if you want to learn about beekeeping, you know, a relaxed, low pressure environment, I reckon my channel's the way to go. I mean, I would say that. I'm a bit biased. But no. Replace that channel. Here's the question. Which one do I use? This, that's my back panel. I know this panel well. If you go perfect size, look at that. Got a big panel. Reckon that's what back panel. Yeah. So we have it, one back panel. See that fit on quite nicely. Gosh, it's gotten a bit bent over summertime, isn't it? In the words of the immortal Hagrid, Rubius Hagrid, you know, I'm just the same. So, yep, so far, if you've been watching this consistently tonight, you've learned that I like Harry Potter, AC/DC. Which, of course, probably marked me as a child of the 80s or the 70s. Yes, it's welcome. So if you guessed 80s, you would be close. But it's actually the 70s. Oh gosh, the smells funny down here tonight. It is phenomenal. Look at that. Smells great. I know some of it's sugar honey, but we've had about 3 beautiful fine days. And the first day is always a bit of an iffy one because it takes a while for the nectar flow to kick in. But after that, things have been good. Girls have been harvesting. Okay, see that wood get pulled in? That's what stops the drafts and stops the rain from kicking in. So if you've joined me on this live video, thanks for stopping by. If you want to learn about beekeeping, please subscribe to my channel. We've got about 60 beekeeping videos out there. Now, all with a different angle. Tonight we've been feeding bees, and now I'm just putting some insulation on one of my hives. If you're wondering, this is 25 mil, I think. EPS foam, right at Bunnings. After you have a snag, of course. No onion on them anymore, though. But have your Bunnings snag, and away you go. But all of these panels are cut to size, all made, you know, by me. Took a little while, but there is nothing quite as satisfying as watching your beehive do well through the winter and come out the other side, especially when you've had a couple die on them. It's so sad when they die. I mean, really, they're a pet. That's what the council says anyway. They rate them as one animal. They kind of are, actually, one animal, one beehive. There we go, nice and snug. Literally as snug as a bug in a rug. But yeah, been beekeeping now for about 6 years, growing the channel. It'd be awesome if you'd subscribe. Always looking for more subscribers. And if you like my video, by all means comment. I do respond. I love a bit of community. People like being able to pick things up in my gloves first time. But hey, there we go. Look at that. We don't need to put that in there. Really good. I'm going down here. Where's the end? Nope, we're all good. Down there, we're all good. Right. Last panel to go on is the front. Here we go. Front panel. Now this one's a little bit different. As you can see, I've cut it to size and then put a little bit of put something on there. And the idea behind that is to stop the foam from falling down. Looks like I've managed to remove a screw by mistake though. Yeah, I did. You're not paying attention. I pulled it apart last year. So I'll fix it up now. Lovely keeping if you're thinking about getting into beekeeping. It's a really rewarding hobby. Of course, the arrival of rubber has probably made it a little bit more challenging. I haven't detected any up here yet, but I know it's only a matter of time. Oh, look at this. There you go, girls. Look at that. Beautiful. Like armor plating. These girls will be so happy. Well, they won't know. They'll just wake up nice and warm. I find they're using less honey. Can be a little bit more difficult to inspect sometimes, but as long as I keep taking this lid off regularly, and I'll show you how I do that in a second, As long as I keep taking this lid off regularly, no problems. Now, it is important, by the way, if you take this approach, and you'll see if you look sideways, you'll see this hive here doesn't have the wood on the outside. And look, to be fair, that one's done okay. So this one, I just really wanted to go a bit overboard, give it the best chance I could, and it seems to have done really, really well. But that one is doing okay, as in acceptably okay, with just the styrofoam panels on it. And it did fine coming through the winter. But I've got to make sure it's got enough honey. That's an absolute must do. Look at those wasps bothering my bees. I got rid of a couple of hives a few weeks ago, wasp nests rather, quite happily. But seems they're back. They're persistent, I'll give them that. They are persistent. So there you have it. Probably taken me about 15 minutes to put this back on. Bees are active, but they're pretty much just ignoring me. Well, don't get me wrong, they're curious. I think I need to put one more down there. Unfortunately, I have exactly one screw left. There we go. Alrighty, so there we have it. That's all the external panels on. But if I leave it like that, the rain will come down and it will do its thing and they'll get wet and cold. So let me put a lid on it, which I have. But firstly, gotta make sure I can get in there. Look at that. Oh, that's very good. Happy girls. I'll do that again for the folks at home. If you're watching on the live, we're going to open the panel for you so you can see how it works. So that's what it looks like from the top. And here we go. Really easy. But I have to keep opening it regularly, otherwise they will fill it up with propolis. So pretty much every week I have to remember just to pop that cap off, and we can do something without too much trouble. Lucky laugh. We'll put the lid on. Really, just a hat. Yep, all cut for size, so it should flip. It might need a little bit of pushing. There we go. Happy days. Look at that. Again, snug as a bug. That's kind of like a sugar feeding thing that I have for them if I need to. See how snug that is? So beautiful. They will be super happy in that environment. Trust me. So you had to measure it all up, of course. And this is my leg. So you can see it's got a couple of little rims on it just to keep it in place. A little bit of an overhang. Just front and rear, make sure I've got the overhang sorted. I should have made it slightly bigger, so I had a bit more of an overhang. But as you can see, suddenly that hive, it's quieter and it's happy. All it knows is that it's warm and dry. That's all it really cares about, I think. Anywho, thank you for stopping by my beekeeping videos. I'm about to have a bit of a pack-up session. But yeah, don't forget, if you're interested in beekeeping and you want to learn more, do stop by my channel, Not That Brian. Do subscribe. That'd be awesome. And comment away. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you on the channel sometime. Cheers from Melbourne.